All right, welcome everybody. As you can see today, I'm going to make a video about Miss Bad Bobby making $50 million on OnlyFans. And as the author of Radical Self-Respect, Avoid Falling for the Same BS, I would be remiss not to tell you that story made me annoyed as can be. To know that there were that many dudes disrespecting themselves out there to throw money hand over fist for the Catch Me Outside girl. And yep, I'm going to call her that. And you're going to see why as we read this article here. But there's all sorts of things that bothered me about this. First and foremost, I do think there is a lot of better ways for men to spend their money than to spend it on OnlyFans girls. I can see a guy spending money if he's actually going to get sex out of it. Okay, I do think we all spend money one way or another on sex because at the very least we're spending our time, and time is money. But on OnlyFans girls, digitally, not my favorite. Now remember, my definition of a simp is a man who disrespects himself for women, and a man who is spending money on OnlyFans. And I looked it up. Her OnlyFans is $23 and something per month. And a man who gets used to doing that, it doesn't do anything good for him. It doesn't help him become a better version of himself. Doesn't help him attract other women. If anything, it's a detriment. There's better ways to spend his time. There's better ways to spend his money. Better ways to invest. All sorts of things he could be doing. But let's get to it here. Let's see what this article from the New York Post has to say. All right. So, Bad Bobby. I made 50 million, so don't call me the Cash Me Outside girl. Now, first of all, I think she should show a little bit of gratitude because if it wasn't for that appearance on the Dr. Phil show, no one would know who she is. No one would care about her, and it helped facilitate the process of her making $50 million on OnlyFans. Now, here's the thing. I don't care that she's doing this on OnlyFans. I get more annoyed at the dudes who allow this to happen because they facilitate it and they enable it by throwing their money at her. I'm not going to blame her for accepting it. Hey, hell, I would probably do it too if there's going to be people throwing their money at me. But the customers, they're the ones I blame. The fool and his money soon parted. And as my good friend Gordon Gekko from Wall Street said, the fool and his money were lucky to even be acquainted in the first place. Let's not forget that part either. So let's continue with this article. Bad Bobby, I made 50 million, so don't call me the Cash Me Outside girl. Kind of gives me Tommy from Goodfellas vibes there too. I don't shine shoes no more, Billy Bats. I don't shine shoes. I don't shine shoes anymore. And a sensitive ego, mind you. He couldn't move on. I think the right way for her to handle this part is, hey, I recognize that's what made me famous. I recognize that's what put me on the map, helped me become a rapper, I guess. And that facilitated the process of her going on OnlyFans. So how about show a little gratitude for how you're even really on the map? Because if not for that, there'd be nobody. So here's the article. She's cashed up, but you'll no longer cash her outside. Danielle Bergoli, I guess that's her name, aka Bad Bobby, formerly the Cash Me Outside girl, says she doesn't want to be associated with her infamous 2016 appearance on Dr. Phil and would prefer it if fans referenced her reported net worth instead. Ego. On Wednesday, the 19-year-old told TMZ that she's made a whopping $50 million since she started an account on OnlyFans a year ago. If there was any other signs you needed that the decline is near, the end of civilization is near, what more could you ask for? 50 million. Not guys that are doing something to give back to the world, not women that are giving their gifts in another way, but the woman who just gets naked on OnlyFans, if she even gets naked, I don't even know, that's what's worth 50 million a year. But the customers are to blame. Don't forget that. So here she goes. People think I'm so in love with being the girl who got famous for being on Dr. Phil and saying some crazy shit. Now that's not how I feel, she declared. Call me the youngest female of the decade to go platinum. Call me some ish like that, she continued. Call me the girl who got $1 million makeup deal. The girl who made over $50 million on OnlyFans, she continued. She got shot to fame as a guest on the daytime show. Of course she did. Said her name, her slogan, I should say. It's unclear whether she has actually made that astronomical sum from her OnlyFans account. The Post has contacted both the website and her rep for further information on her claims. However, last April, Bergoli made more than $1 million in just several hours after publicly launching her OnlyFans. An insider additionally told Page Six at the time that the rapper's account was on track to generate more than $5 million in gross revenue in 24 hours. The star seems to be investing her money wisely, hitting headlines on Tuesday after snapping up her new Palm Beach County property. The ultra-luxurious 9,200 square foot home is located on an acre of land in an exclusive gated community. Heavy sigh. Heavy sigh. So that's the story of Bhad Bhabie there. And I feel, as the creator of this channel here, Radical Self-Respect, it bothers me that so many dudes are willing to do this, to throw their hard-earned money at her just so they can see her naked digitally. Porn is free, for crying out loud. Now, granted, I'm on the no porn challenge myself, but porn is free. And I'm not to say I'm not perfect. Years ago, I think I'd even viewed OnlyFans before, but I've learned from the error of my ways. And so I want to help men out of that scenario. I don't want to browbeat them so badly. I get it. I understand. I understand the impulse. But think of it like this. Women do not respect you when you pay them for their OnlyFans. It's putting them on a pedestal, pretty much literally. You're paying just to see her nude body digitally, and you'll also maybe get some chat with her in her inbox that is probably just one of her male assistants. That's really what it is. And maybe you'll send some D-pics to her inbox or think you're talking dirty to her or something, but it's really just a bot or some sort of assistant. But think, you had to spend your time to make money. Almost everyone does. And when you have to trade your time for money, that means when you throw your money at a woman like her, you're losing out. You're losing out because you spent your time for that money. You did. And there's better ways to invest in yourself, to grow as a person, read books to become more attractive. There's so many things that we could be doing instead. And I guess some guys would think, well, maybe I'm MGTOW monk, so I'm not going to bother in the real world of dating anyway. I mean, hey, I don't blame someone for going MGTOW monk, but to facilitate the process of her making $50 million on OnlyFans, I just can't justify that. I don't think, to see that's what works, all you have to do is get a little fame, and then you can make $50 million showing your boobs. I mean, for real? That's what the world has come to these days? And again, I do not blame the women for doing this. All they have to do is show boobs, and they can be millionaire, and they can buy a $6 million stunning estate, as Tim Dillon would say, in cash. I mean, it's our own fault, right? It's society's fault when people like that are able to do that. Because when you're looking for the guilty, all you need to do is look into the mirror. So, gentlemen, I implore you, before you do that, if you're going to do that, watch porn instead. Watch porn instead. But preferably, read a book. Preferably, try to grow as a person. Get some coaching. Do something that scares you. That's something I've been trying to do in my own life more recently. Do things that scare me. Because I was reading a book the other day, and it said, There is no growth in the comfort zone, and there's no comfort in the growth zone. And when we're comfortable, we're probably not growing. And in order to get comfortable, we got to get uncomfortable first. But that process never ends. It's a continuing process. There is no end in sight. That's part of what life is. It's part of what being a man is. There is no final end where the growth ends and we can just coast on comfort. Absolutely not. In this day and age, there is no ending because things change so fast. Things are evolving so fast that if we don't keep up with the times, we're going to be falling back. There was an old expression in the rooms that would say, if we're not moving forward, we're moving back. And I think that's doubly true today because at the pace of change society is going at, if we just kind of stay where we are, the world's going to pass us by. They're going to, because there's always someone out there who's going to be hungry and who's going to be growing and who's going to be trying to sharpen their skill sets and become the best version of themselves. And unless we're trying to do the same, people are going to pass us. And maybe some people will say, well, I don't want to play that game. Okay. But here's the thing. Unless you really work your butt off to get to a certain point where you're financially free, and then maybe you can try to live off the grid or something, like, and then what? You probably won't have as much of a community unless you go online. And even that's hard today with the rate of inflation too. So the things that people used to fantasize about, like getting off the grid and doing their own thing, it is getting harder. There is no shortcut for the hard work. But back to the original topic of this here, I just can't stand it to see when guys disrespect themselves. To know what women think of the guys that do this, and they do. I've posted about this on Facebook before, and many women say it's pathetic. They say they point and laugh at them in public, and they tell their friends, oh, look at this dork, look what he did. Or look at this guy, he's into D-pic, and it's so small. And all these things, this is what they're saying to you. And I'm being this blunt and honest about it because I think sometimes that's what it takes to get through to people. But we have to get to a point where it bothers us to disrespect ourselves. That's a key point in growth. The point where we get bothered when we do something that goes against our moral code. That's what building a strong frame and a good mental point of origin is all about. I'm going to make a video soon too about how to do this, how to build a stronger frame. And there's tests and there's challenges to help do this. But like I would get annoyed considering how hard it can be to make money. And granted, there are people out there who say it's easy, but they're lying. Because anyone who says it's easy is full of it, and they're trying to sell you something, as the movie The Princess Bride would say. Life is pain, princess. Anyone who tells you differently is selling something. Don't forget that. So it's hard. You got to get a skill set. You got to maximize that skill set, and then you got to trade it for money. It's not going to be easy, and no one said it should want to be easy either. We got to be able to take on the challenges and go head on up the hill. And that is where we get satisfaction oftentimes, where we overcome challenges. And just because our life isn't easy doesn't mean it won't be good. Like I think there's people out there that they inherit a lot of money and they're wealthy from birth. Their life is probably pretty freaking boring. Like they probably are dying for stimulation and obstacles to overcome because everything's been handed to them. That's what was so good about what Clint Eastwood did for Scott Eastwood. He made him get real jobs. He said, yeah, you're not going to get any handouts here. You're going to go be a bartender. You're going to be a valet. You're going to learn the value of hard work like everyone else does because he's not going to spoil him and ruin him because that's what wealth can do. It can ruin you. But if I have kids one day, I wouldn't want to do that for them. I'd want to give them the gift of challenge. I'd want to give them the gift of having to overcome obstacles and hardships. That's what life's all about. I've had to overcome a lot of hardships. And honestly, I haven't talked a lot about the hardships I've really overcome with addiction, which I will probably talk more about in the future because it is a big part of my story. But in this case, I mean, hey, porn can even be an addiction for a lot of people too. And I don't envy it because it's certainly tough, especially in the social media era where it's at our fingertips at all times. It's much harder than it used to be, where you had to go run to a freaking VHS tape or a Playboy Penthouse magazine. Like the times have changed, and now it's all at our fingertips. And it always reminds me, if you've read the Dark Tower series by Stephen King, he talks about how there's a wizard's glass. And in the wizard's glass, you can see all the sins of the world. And that's pretty much what we have on our smartphones, every one of us. We have all the sins of the world here at our disposal. But remember, gentlemen, there's got to be hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people paying this Bhad Bhabie girl. But before you do that, think, how hard did I have to work for this money, for me just to throw it over, just so I can see some digital boobies? Is that really the best use of that money? Is that really the best use of your time? How about invest in yourself? And I think a part of this is you got to have goals that you're working for. Now, I know Alex Hermosi says goals are nonsense, but I don't necessarily agree. I think there are times when we should put something that we're striving for. Like, hey, I want to get to this point, and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z each day to get to that point. Seems like a better way to go about it to me. But gentlemen, if you know other guys that might be doing this kind of thing, spending their money on OnlyFans, please share this, because I don't want to necessarily shame them, but I do want to show them the truth of what other women think about it. And other women have also told me, if they're not the OnlyFans girl, and say maybe their boyfriend's doing it or another dude they know is doing it, they lose respect for them. They lose respect for them because it seems pathetic. And as a man, no one should be respecting us more than ourselves, right? We have to respect ourselves first and foremost. We teach other people how to treat us. And if people see us throwing away our time and money on digital boobies, it's just not a good look. There's just so many better ways to go. And I don't think it helps society in any way that a girl like her can make $50 million on OnlyFans. It just doesn't help. So she's one person, and maybe now there's going to be all sorts of women trying to replicate her success. But here's the thing. The more women who try, the less likely it will be for all of them, unless they already have a high level of fame going in. And so Bhad Bhabie there, I think she should embrace the Catch Me Outside thing because, again, like I said, if not for that, her rap career would have never started, and she never would have been able to do this. So how about show some humility and some gratitude for how you got to where you are? But again, it seems a lot like Tommy from Goodfellas. I don't shine shoes anymore, Billy Bats. I don't shine shoes. It's a sensitive ego, sensitive to criticism. And as we know on this channel, what is that? It's a narcissistic trait. Now, I'm not saying she's a narcissist or has NPD. Anything I say in that regard is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a clinical psychologist or a psychiatrist, but being sensitive to criticism is absolutely a narcissistic trait. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Share this content with others that you think might benefit. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. There's a lot of viewers of this channel, by the way, that are not subscribed, and I do hope that changes. And let me know what you think about this video in the comments, and let me know what other kind of video topics you would like to see from me. So with that, over and out, everybody. Have a great day. But actually, let me see what this guy was saying to me. To do the kind of people should make a dime on any platform? Yeah, probably not. Right, bro? Yep. See? I watch porn. I try to stop sometimes. I succeed for a while. Sometimes I relapse. I visited hookers on a few occasions, but never spent a dime simping online. Hey, I'm all for, I'd be way more for somebody seeing a hooker that they actually sleep with than spending a dime online simping. So I'd always rather see you do that, because even an in-person interaction, there's going to be something there where you have sex with that person. It's better for your self-esteem. It's better for a lot of things. The digital thing, it's so disconnected It's just, it doesn't do much. But even in that experience with a hooker, you can even have a little bit of like girlfriend experience. There's all sorts of things. If I'm going to pay, I'd want to get the real thing, right? And as I've mentioned before, we all pay. In one way or another, we all pay. I saw Fen Sapien say the other day that everyone pays after the trial period, meaning a man has to do something for a woman eventually, or she's going to be gone, baby, gone. And, yep, see you later, brother. Thanks for commenting on all the show here. And with that, have a great rest of your day, everybody. But actually, I got to see how you turn this off here. Yeah, I guess I'll figure it out later. Have a good one.